Good afternoon. Namaste. Hello. So good to see you here in our beautiful sanctuary, as well as online. Thank you for joining us. If you are new, we are so glad to have you with us. Thank you for coming and checking out our community. And for all the rest, welcome back. Welcome back to our Sunday afternoon service. Namaste is a radically welcoming community. I love that statement. Not just welcoming, we are radically welcoming because we believe that all paths lead to an awakening. All paths, so all are welcome. We are here collectively revealing that love is the nature of who we already are. Who we already are. So thank you. Thank you for being here. Speaking of who we already are, I want to share our who we are statement. And please read along with us so that we can download it, so we can remind ourselves of who we are. I honor the place in you in which the entire universe dwells. I honor the place in you which is love, truth, light, and peace. When you are in that place in you, and I am in that place in me, we recognize that we are one. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you, Des. Take it away.
I was all zenned out for the moment, huh? So we are going to duet, right? There's a call and response on this? You guys have a part, right? Did everybody get the memo for that? So you'll repeat after me. I'll say, I'm walking, and you'll say, walking with spirit. I'm talking to the spirit, right? So it's me and you. Here we go. I'm walking. Oh, I'm talking. Walking in the spirit. I'm learning. Oh, I'm turning. I'm growing. And it's showing. I'm walking with the Spirit in front of me. I'm walking. I'm talking to the Spirit. I'm learning to the Spirit. I'm turning to the Spirit. I'm growing. And it's showing. And I'm walking with the Spirit in the front of me. One more time, I'm walking. I'm talking. Oh, I'm learning. And I'm turning. I'm growing. And it's showing. And I'm walking with the Spirit in front of me. When I find myself in one of those situations that's leading me to some kind of drama or confrontation, I go within and I get plugged in to my friend before it's too late. And I put on the Spirit in front of me to make the crooked way straight. Oh, I'm walking. I'm talking. Yes, I'm learning. And I'm turning. You know I'm growing. And it's showing. So I'm walking with the Spirit in front of. So I'm walking with the Spirit in front of me. One more time. So I'm walking with the Spirit in front of me. Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Still, it's not morning. Old habits die hard. Good afternoon, namaste. This is the time of service where I'm going to ask our practitioner, Jesse, to come forward with the candle. This is the part where we get to be reminded that truly there is just the one life, that there is no path that does not lead us back to the one life, that life that is God right here, right now. That light is that reminder of that light that shines within as each and every one of us express our individual God self. Thank you, Jesse. And now I'm going to ask that we read our affirmation of the month together. I learn practical science of my tools and practice in a loving. Sorry. I thought, wow, I didn't know that that was our affirmation for the month. Excuse me while I let go of my shame for a minute. Let's try this again. Take two. I am grateful for this life and all that I am. I am peace. I am calm. I am joy. I am the light to the world. I open to the path that is prepared before me to give this great gift that I am. So with that, let's just take a moment to go into prayer. And as I anchor in that knowingness of peace and joy and calm, even in the midst of sometimes the appearance of otherness, what I am reminded of in these moments that truly, when we just get quiet and we listen, that God is ever present. So I know for this service, this is true as well, that all that unfolds for a reason. I need not know what it is, but I know this day that we are blessed. We are blessed by the message that we will hear from Bobby. We are blessed by the tech crew that has been working so diligently all day to gather our technology so that whether you're here or at home, you get to hear the message. You get to hear it in our hearts by the music that Des presents to us, and by the collective community of oneness that we bring each of us in this configuration. So I know this day what needs to be heard falls on open hearts and open ears, to be received in its fullest, to listen with that God's mind, that God's ears, for the deeper message that is ours to receive. So it's with a grateful heart that I say thank you for each of you for being here, for Bobby to present the message that Spirit has so lovingly downloaded. I'm just simply saying, so it is. So I'd like to invite Sean Mejia, our board vice president, up.
Good afternoon, everyone. Let me bring my first slide up here. I'd like to, for those that don't know me, my name is Sean Mejia. I am the vice president here at Namaste on the board of trustees. So I'm going to invite everyone to read along with me our mission statement. I learn practical science of mind tools and practice in a loving, connective, and vibrant community to reveal my power and to change my life. And so we describe this through a cycle. The first cycle is awaken. We awaken to a new truth in our lives. We realize how this truth has played out in our lives. We take our new knowledge and transform our lives. We repeat this process in our lives in new ways. Our power statements: we are a thriving, dynamic, spiritual community. We are Namaste. This stuff works. So our first announcement: holiday program with the community choir performing with Kong and Des, inspiring message presented by the ministers, the board of trustees, and the practitioners. Potluck will follow service. Bring your favorite dish to share. And don't forget to sign up in the foyer so that we know how many are going to attend so we can have seating outside. What's happening on Sundays beginning in January? Ritual Sunday, first Sunday, beginning February during service. Gratitude Sunday, second Sunday beginning in January, sharing from the community. Conversation from the Soul, third Sunday beginning in January, and Meditation Sunday, fourth Sunday ongoing before service. You are invited to the Safe Place, an ongoing hour-long grief support group every second Wednesday at 7 p.m. and every fourth Monday at 10 a.m. We've created the Safe Place to support grief from life events, the changes they bring, and to find comfort in the community. To receive the Zoom link or phone number to join the group, please register on Eventbrite and look within our newsletter, website, and Facebook page for that link. For the second year, on the morning of New Year's Eve, Downey and Namaste Centers for Spiritual Living are joining spiritual forces and meditating with others around the world to participate in the most comprehensive prayer activity in history. At that very moment, noon Greenwich time in United Kingdom, we will be joining others in a planetary affirmation of love, peace, forgiveness, and understanding, involving millions of people around the world. So you are invited to be a part of Namaste's tradition that Derry Takasian and husband husband Andre have led us in over 15 years. Information on joining the Zoom session will be forthcoming on our social media channels. Start your weekday off with prayer, support, and connection Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. Try it out and see how your day will change. All of these offerings are available on our website, calendar, our newsletter, and on our Facebook page with more information. Thank you. I'd like to say thank you very much for Des for leading us today. Thank you. And I'd just like to remind everybody that the details about our scheduled events can be found on our Namaste website, calendar, in our newsletter, and through Facebook. If you are not currently receiving newsletters, you can sign up on our website or speak with a member of the welcome team after service. I'd like to say thank you so much and looking forward to seeing you next Sunday.
Now, as we prepare to go into our sacred song, I'm going to invite you, as you go into the stillness, to contemplate the question, what can I give? What can I give that can make the difference in the world this month? What about me is a gift to the world?
We are connected by the heart. Where do you end? Where do I start? Anything you pray for, if fear is in the way, I am here to listen to anything you need to say. Your prayer is my prayer too. Your prayer is my prayer too. Whatever you feel, I feel it too. You're a part of me, I'm a part of you. Your prayer is my prayer too. My prayer too. I hear the worries that are in your way. There's nothing I can do to take your pain away, but I'll help you reconnect the voice inside. Let angels wrap you in their love and spirit, be your guide. Your prayer is my prayer too. Your prayer is my prayer too. Whatever you feel, I feel it too. You're a part of me, I'm a part of you. Your prayer is my prayer too. 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 My prayer too.
Thank you, Des. So my question, what is the gift that I am and will give this month? So I'm going to invite anybody who got an answer to that and wants to share, please raise your hand. Peace. Yes. What is your gift? You can just shout it out. A hug. Thank you. Kindness, yes. Forgiveness. Compassion. Joy, yes. A smile, yes, thank you. And what I know is I can see those smiles even with masks on. So thank you. Did I hear something in the back? Friendship. Yeah. Connection. Service? Service. Yes. Listen. Generosity, yes. Commitment. That's a big one, isn't it? Love. Authenticity. Care, yes. Thank you, beloved community, for all the ways that you show up and all the ways that are your gift to share with each of us. So thank you. So today's theme or topic is, hold on, sorry, the slides are kind of wonky today, or I'm wonky. The joy of becoming. Sounds simple, right? It is simple, and it's certainly not always easy. So as I was contemplating on this week, I started just really thinking of the ways that I keep myself from being in the joy. Because what I know is if I am not in joy, it's because of a story that I have going on. Anybody else have stories that you tell yourself? Okay. Sometimes they're true, sometimes they're not. And what matters is what is our idea of the story and what sort of power are we letting it have over our life? Because what I know is when I get into my stories, even if there's evidence to support it, it doesn't always support me because it keeps me stuck. It keeps me stuck from becoming my joy. Because the longer I stay stuck in that story, true, not true, it doesn't matter. I am holding on to a belief of a certain outcome, which is always contrary to my joy. So how do we let go of that? In the book this month, Richard Rohr says, before you speak of peace, and I'm just going to also include joy in that, you must first have it in your heart. We have been called to heal wounds, to unite what has fallen apart, and to bring home any who have lost their way. And for me, what that really says to me is the joy is already present. How am I keeping it at bay? I must do my work and heal that so that I can come home to my joy. So I'm going to take us into a meditation right now. And I'm going to ask you, as we go through this, to think about the stories that you're telling. What are you holding on that no longer serve you? This meditation will be a tool to surrender those things that we feel we must hold on to control. So I'm going to start out, just everybody invite you to take a deep breath. Bring your awareness to this moment. Just breathe naturally in through your nose recognizing the cool air as it comes in, feeling the warm air as it goes out, feeling yourself safe right where you're at, knowing that these quilts that have been so lovingly placed around are holding you safely right where you are. As you continue to breathe, just allowing your belly to continue to expand. Let your body relax just a little bit deeper now. With each exhale, feel yourself just deepening down a little more down into your relaxation. Now imagine yourself standing outside of yourself, but seeing yourself sitting there. See your hand reach out in front of you. And as you reach your hand out, you notice that you're holding on to something. I want you to think about what it is that you're holding on to. Maybe it's something you're trying to make perfect. Maybe you're feeling the pull or struggle of something happening in your life. You may be feeling pain or tension. But each of those things that you are struggling with, open your hand and see that they are represented by marbles in your hand. It could be a steely or a cat eye, whatever kind of marble you're called to. One by one, place the things that you are trying to control. Place that marble in your hand. Name it. Maybe it's your schedule or some regularity with time. Maybe it's just general happenings out in the world that you're struggling with. Maybe it's somebody's behavior that you want so badly to change. Maybe it's your work, the amount of money coming in or not coming in. Whatever they are, identify them for you. Identify each little marble in your hand. And watch as you place it in your outstretched hand. Now, as you're piling them up, I'm gathering you're probably wanting to close your hand around them and hold on even tighter, right? Keep your hand open, try to keep them from falling. And if you can't, now the invitation is to hold on tight, squeeze them as hard as you can. Can you get them all in your palm, in your closed fist? Is there discomfort present? It's hard to continue, just keep that squeeze going, isn't it? Feel where in your body you're holding on to any of the tension that you might be also experiencing in your hand. It might go up your arm. It might be in your shoulders, your back. You may feel it all over your body. But now take 3 deep breaths. With each breath, I want you to breathe in love. Breathe in compassion. Breathe in grace for yourself. With every breath out, watch your hand as it opens up and gently let each of the marbles fall away. And remember breathing in love, compassion, and grace. Letting go of the marbles with each exhalation. As you take that first deep breath in with love, feel your body expand. As you breathe out, release anything that you are trying to control. Breathing in love, compassion, grace. Breathing out any tension left in your body. And now exhale any remaining tension you may have left in your body. And see your hand as empty. And let it come back to its natural, normal position in your body. Notice how much lighter you feel. Can you notice your heart rate is slower? As your breathing slowed? You're present right here and right now. This moment exists always. You are doing your best right here and right now. You are love. You are compassion and grace. You are joy. Surrender to what is. As you're breathing, notice that warm spot, that warm center that is the truth of you. That is you as spirit in each moment. That glow, that light, ever present. That is your inner voice. It exists beyond time, beyond any perceived limitations. It is ever present. Strong, resilient, creative, joy-filled. Notice how peaceful it feels. This glow is inside you always. Your small, still voice will guide you. Navigate your days, your weeks, your months. It will never steer you wrong. Everything is inside you always. So take this moment. Notice where in their body you feel this sensation. And know you can come back to it at any time. And when you're ready, I invite you to bring yourself back to this room. Right here, right now. And with that, namaste. Have a blessed day. Thank you.
Sometimes you're in a desert. Sometimes you feel the pain. Sometimes God calms the storm. But sometimes God lets it rain. Please don't hold your breath. Just breathe. For it's a miracle we can breathe. There's power in the way that we breathe. Release the heavy burden and let everything that has breath praise the Lord. This goes out to the worried. This goes out to the stressed. Sorting out a million thoughts that are running through your head. To everyone that's waiting for better days ahead. You're tired, you're frustrated, leaving words unsaid. Please don't hold your breath. Just breathe. For it's a miracle we can breathe. Release the heavy burdens and just breathe. Let everything that hath breath praise. Let everything that hath breath praise. Let everything that hath breath praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Just breathe.
To get my technology working. Good afternoon, everyone. It's evening now. I'm still used to the afternoon. Not another month, I'll get used to the time change. My talk today is on the joy of becoming. Now, the first thing I'd like to say about that is joy and becoming don't necessarily go together. Do they? Yeah, no, it seems like an oxymoron just right off. I remember when I first thought of it, I thought I'm talking about joy, and I went, yeah, but there's becoming in there, so which one do I go with? Because it's not always, I can't say that my becoming has mostly been joy. Would you agree with that? Because the shift doesn't always include joy in the moment, because, we're sort of practicing things that sort of a new way of being, and we're not really in the new way of being. And until I'm in the new way of being, anything but joy shows up. So that makes it a little bit challenging, doesn't it? Ernest Holmes said that the greatest good we can conceive should be affirmed as a part of our everyday experience. From such daily meditation, we venture forth into a life of action and the will to do, the determination to be, and the joy in becoming. And I'm grateful he put that part at the end, right? Because it kind of takes a little bit of weaving in and out through life to really get a sense of the joy of becoming. It's going on about 9 years now, and when I've mentioned before my grandmother's passing, there was something about my grandmother's passing that brought joy in such a deep time of grief. Imagine that. Aside from the fact that there was a lot she struggled with in her transition, and she and I worked through this together with respect to what we came here to be in each other's lives. Now, there's an obvious point that she's my grandmother and I'm her granddaughter, but there was something deeper in there that was aside from that you don't necessarily get from your grandparents or your parents. And in this particular case, one of the things that I came to understand is this idea of love and what is it? And how is it in my life? And at the moment of her passing, what was interesting is everybody had left. There was some family that came in to see her. And it was the end of the day, and it was pretty clear that it was probably going to be sometime in the evening or that night in which she was going to pass. And so I got comfortable, and I had she was in a boarding care, assisted living, and I was staying those nights with her in the end, and I was getting my bed ready right below her bed, and I was I was settling in for the evening, and I pulled out a book, and there was a chair in there, and I sat at the chair, and then all of a sudden I felt a shift. And I was watching her, and for those of you that have been the companion to a loved one when they're about to transition, there is a demonstratively significant shift. And while her breathing had been slowing down, it really slowed down. And I stood up, and I leaned over, and I said, Grandma, I love you, and it's okay, as we do sometimes. And all of a sudden, in the room, I could see, not with these eyes, I could see that we were not alone. That there was, for lack of a better description, a host of people that were there. I could feel it and I could see it. And at first I thought, oh, they're here. They're here, which I had believed through her transition. They're here to support her journey. So she's not, that we're really never alone. And then I realized they're here for me too. And I could see family that I didn't know, but they were family. And there were people that had been part of her life that were there, and they were all there. And I spoke out loud in that moment, oh my goodness, we're never alone. And in that moment, I think prior to that, I'd always had a bit of doubt about really what was the afterlife. I mean, I haven't been there, so, you know, it seems reasonable. But in that moment, I knew that I'm never alone. And that even in the sadness of her transition, I knew in that moment I had such joy and such peace and such a feeling of being complete. And what was interesting is that it's not always right in front of us what's happened. It's usually what's in front of us is what we see is in front of us. And we're limited by our perspective. We're limited by sort of our perspective of the history. We're limited by the stories that we tell over and over and over. And those stories become our identity, and it's really even more so. The pain of the story becomes the identity of who we are, and we don't even realize it. My grandmother and I did not have a great experience of each other in my childhood. She was much closer to my siblings, but in my adulthood, we became, at that later point in my life, her life, and I was in my late 40s when this happened, that she and I became close for entirely a surprising reason. Neither one of us expected that it was going to be me, that was going to be the person at the end of her life. We were both shocked by that. And as she told me one time, she says, "I'm so surprised it's you, and so grateful." Can you have that? Can you have that paradox of both joy and sorrow in an experience? And the answer, of course, is yes, I can. And when I am only looking at life from a perspective, one perspective, when I continually identify with only the pain of something, then I'm really limiting myself. And actually, I would say that I'm having a case of what I would call mistaken identity. Richard Rohr says in the Wisdom Pattern, the book of the month, he says, "We all seem to suffer from a tragic case of mistaken identity. Life is a matter of becoming fully and consciously who we already are." Let's pause for a minute. We forget, and we have forgotten who we really are, either by what the world has told us, what our parents have told us, what teachers have told us, a part of society has told us. We have forgotten who we are, often. But it is a self that we largely do not know, and that's because we don't open to that. We're kind of stuck in the small self, the ego, and we're not allowing the divine to speak within us, the divine to be seen. It is as though we are all suffering from a giant case of amnesia. The protagonists in so many fairy tales are already nobles, royal, daughters and sons of the king, or even the gods, but their identity is hidden from them, and the storyline pivots around this discovery. Our whole storyline is around the discovery of the truth of who we are. But instead, what it becomes are the things that I'm annoyed by, or frustrated by, or sad about, as if things shouldn't happen in the way that they do. So where is the joy in becoming? Where is it? And I think about, like every one of you came into this room, either the first time or continue to do so, with some purpose in mind. Sometimes we don't understand what it is. We come in for connection. We might come in to experience peace or love or whatever we're lacking in the moment, but we come in here and we get refilled and recharged, whether it's by the music or seeing my friends or whatever it is. But in that moment when those things happen, that moment when I feel a deep connection or something has fed me or I feel a little bit lifted, it's because there's something in the room that is mirroring back to me the truth of who I am. And if I only have that experience in here, can you imagine what the rest of the week feels like? The journey of self-discovery is played out through overcoming what we suffer with. Connection, healing, and unity is what our theme is at Namaste over this next period of time. And I say period because I don't know how long we're going to be in this. It just feels like something we do. We connect in here with a oneness. I'm not even sure we're conscious of it. We walk in and it just feels comfortable. It just feels like there's something here that is pulling me. We move in closer. We move in closer, whether it's closer in connection with folks, or we move in closer and it's a study of how can I be closer with the truth of who I am. And we experience healing. We offer ourselves up for a bigger experience when we share it, as what we saw Nikki do up here. Whatever it is she spoke, whether it was the meditation she came up with the questions that she asks. The same thing happens when Des shares her beautiful talent. You're uplifted by it. We are healed by it. Because through unity, that's the collective heal. Now, in this joy to experience joy in becoming, in our own becoming, by the way, there are terms to it, just like a contract. There are terms in this experience of becoming. And by the way, the ego has its own terms, which are very finite. But the true becoming, those terms are infinite. And by the way, that's really uncomfortable for us, because they're not very plain. They're not always clear. In fact, they're counterintuitive to the ego, so we question it. In fact, we reject it often. Because what it requires, which is, I think, the most difficult practice, is surrender. It requires us to surrender into an experience rather than judge it, label it, call it something. And as soon as we do that, then we've basically reduced the terms down to having, again, a finite experience, rather than the experience of the infinite. Now, when we surrender, here, it's kind of interesting, I kind of played with this a little bit, is I am sure that nothing in your life is frustrating or annoying, correct? You've all got it figured out. Right? Every day, every moment. So just imagine, like this week I had a conversation, and I'm going to throw my wife under the bus right now because that's what happens. But we had this really great conversation this week, and what happened is we were talking about an expectation we had, and I decided that instead of, I don't know, battling it, I was just going to let it go. And just not have an expectation of something that we were about to do. So I played with it. At first I thought, okay, I'm just going to surrender a little bit. Just a little. And that really went well. Not so much, right? It went well and then it didn't go well, in a sense, because you can't just surrender a little bit. When you surrender a little bit, the challenge with that is what comes into place is this bittersweetness, which is at first you surrender and it feels really good, and then you back up and then it's really just awful. But I was thinking about it, why, and I was actually paying attention, and the point of is I was going to surrender a little bit, and then I didn't want to, and so I was just actively playing with this, and I realized that I really crave a little bit of drama. And I know I'm not alone on that one in this room. So don't be looking at me like, wow, Rev Bobby craves drama. You see, the thing about when you're awakened, which is like becoming, is when you're unawakened, it has its limits in how we see life. It can only go so far, which is why becoming constantly has this invitation to go further and further and further into sort of this realm of consciousness that is very unclear, at least visually, because we want things from the ego standpoint, the finite standpoint. We want things that we can see, touch, feel, that are very tangible. But when we're awakening, when we're becoming, it's anything but. It's so annoying. Because my ego self does not like that. So the invitation becomes a little bit more about what I would say what Richard Rohr calls it, which is to have a healthy respect, that there is reverence. Reverence needs to be given to everything. Not just the things that I think are sacred, because to be honest, everything is sacred. Everything. So I'm going to give you an example that you might not like. Music. There is music I don't like. It's not a lot, but there's definitely music I don't like. And some music might grate on me. And if it grates on me, I immediately call it profane. I may not like it because I don't like what's happening. But what's interesting about what has changed for me around this is the fact that for some, music, no matter what variety, is sacred because it's a story, and it's telling a story, an experience. And I'm guessing each one of you in the room can pick a music you don't like. I mean, you just don't like it. But unless there's an invitation into having this universal reverence, unless we have this practice in which we open up to the idea that reverence has to include it all. It has to include others' opinions that I don't agree with. Because the journey doesn't always unfold in ways, especially with other people, by the way. All I have to do is turn on the news, and a few of my favorite characters show up. And I watch what they say, and I think, that is horrible, unkind, lacks compassion. But as long as I match up my own frustration with them and what they're experiencing, what am I doing? Anyone? Say it. I'm keeping it going. It's like in that conversation with Janine, someone has to move. I think the question I always ask myself is, move where? Move how? You see, what's interesting is the reflection of the divine shows up in everything. And the divine, at least is, when we think about science of mind, we recognize that the journey is, everyone has a journey, everything has a journey, and I don't get to really say what that journey is. But I get to practice with other people whose journey I don't agree with. But what I take back is a mirror of just my own perspective. So, in the Old Testament, there's a story of Jacob and Esau. And Jacob and Esau are the twin sons of Isaac, the son of Abraham. I just want to know in the room, who doesn't know this story? I knew some of you didn't, and that's absolutely cool. Because then now I know what context to bring to it. What's interesting about the two is Abraham is considered the father of the Israelite nation. He was a huge leader. And his son Isaac was his only son, which was produced in dramatic terms. Everything in the Bible is dramatic, I've noticed. Jacob was his twin son born second. Jacob was a much more spiritual man than Esau, to which I'm going to be talking about the two of them in January, because there's a lot about their journey that speaks to us, which I think that's what the Bible does. The stories in the Bible can really explain our own journey. So Jacob was on the road, and he had taken his family. He was on his way to go see his brother. He was with his 2 wives, which is kind of challenging for me. He was with his 2 wives, and he sent them ahead, and he decided to hang back, and he was going to sleep, and he had his head on a rock, and this man approached him and began to wrestle with him just all of a sudden. That's what we do, right? Men just wrestle together. That's what I was told, basically, from this story. I love how man shows up and starts to wrestle with him. I just love those kinds of stories. Jacob started to wrestle back with him, and they wrestled through the entire night. And the next morning, this man that Jacob realized was an angel of God, or in essence, God. And he wrenched Jacob's hip, hurt like hell. And but Jacob wouldn't stop. And the man said, "Let me go." God said, "Let me go." And he said, "No, not until you bless me." Now, from a literal standpoint, I'm thinking, what in the world does this story mean? God says to Jacob, "What is your name?" And he says, "My name is Jacob." And he says, "Your name will no longer be Jacob. From now on, it is Israel." Now, metaphysically, this story is really an important story because the story invites us to look about how we wrestle with this idea or with our own situation and circumstances to really, truly reveal a greater truth of who we are. We wrestle with God all the time. In this story, Jacob wrestled with God and wouldn't let go, but at the end, he wanted to stop wrestling. So what did he say? "Bless me first," which concluded this struggle. And then when the struggle was done and he blessed him, he gave him a new name, which is his identity, his truth, the truth of who he really is. How often do we wrestle with something that does not need to be wrestled just because it's habit? How often do we characterize something just because we're so used to characterizing everything because it's habit? How often do we reject ideas because it triggers us or makes us uncomfortable or I don't like it just because that's what we do? It's our habit. How often do we just identify with certain things that show up over and over and over as if they shouldn't? What would happen if I paused for a moment and stopped wrestling? Stopped fighting just because it's annoying, just because it brings up something. What would happen if I just stopped? What if I just opened up for just a moment and said, "What is this here? What is it triggering in me?" But not necessarily do I also, which I realized with Janine was, I don't necessarily need to drag her through my entire sort of story to get to a place of peace. There are habits in my life that I continue to do. And the invitation is to stop and to pause and to open up that there is a different way. And in Jacob's case, he said, "Bless me." Just saying, "Bless me," opens me up to something completely different. I realized, in my own childhood about how many sort of triggers that I had collected in my life. And I have collected a few. It's a big bag of them, really. And I walk with them, and I've noticed I've let go of a lot of things in life. But I also have a lot more to carry and a lot more to walk through. So to come to a place where the joy in becoming is to have an invitation that everything that is showing up in my life is part of the oneness that life is. Even though we practice this amazing philosophy, what we call science of mind, which is the study of how it all is, succinctly, it doesn't mean we're not going to have challenges. It doesn't mean that everything is going to get healed all in this life. But what if we accepted that some things are as they are, but I can perceive or choose to change, that even though something might trigger me or make me uncomfortable or frustrate me or whatever it might be, that I can pause and open up to something else. Because as long as I continue to tell the same story over and over, I love that one. When I tell the same story over and over and over, what am I doing? I'm taking who I am as a child of God, and I'm reducing it to a story that I refuse to let go. The joy, bringing the joy into it, is part of the journey. It's our challenge only because it's a challenge that we think we have to take on. Neil Donald Walsh said the soul has come to the body and the body to life for the purpose of evolution. You are evolving, you are becoming. If you're reusing your relationship with everything to decide what you're becoming, and you're reusing your relationship with everything to decide what you're becoming, this is the job you came here to do. You're doing what you came here to do. The invitation is to be conscious about it. There's a story, I'm going to close with this. There's a story I used to tell about my life, and I realized that the way in which I told the story was I kept telling the story with the same outcome over and over and over and over. I kept reaffirming that story with everyone that would hear it. When I do that, I'm continually strengthening the power in that story. And that is why there's no joy. Because the story, in the pain of it, there is no joy. There isn't. There can't be. But to allow a relationship, and so we make things so much more difficult than they truly are, and I will give you an example. Imagine that you're a high jumper trying to learn to high jump. Most of the time, we set the bar really, really high. So let's just say that's life. I put the bar up, and I'm going to learn to jump just like a high jumper, and I'm jumping and trying to jump this high, which I've never done before, over and over and over again. In life, I make things much more difficult than they really are. We exhaust ourselves to the point that we give up sometimes. But then God walks in, okay? And God takes the bar, and God puts the bar on the ground. It says, now jump this. And in my bewilderment and confusion and exhilaration, I trip over the bar. And I fall into the arms of the divine. That's really how it works. I cannot fail unless I choose. I cannot fail. It is not possible in the mind of God. It is absolutely impossible. I'll close with this last quote. We cannot think our way into a new way of living. We must live ourselves into a new way of thinking. I can't just do it up here. I have to take a step to do it differently. I have to move in a new way, and I have to open up to it. And as long as it stays up here, it goes nowhere. It goes absolutely nowhere. So let us pray. So just in this moment, in this space, affirming all that has already been spoken, that God is all there is. And when I mean God is all there is, I mean God is all there is. There is nothing that isn't included in that. No story, no event, no situation, no one, no thing. It's all in there. And I call this God, this action of the universe, this spirit, this collective, oneness and wholeness and abundance and joy. And as it is all, I know that I'm one with it. And I know that everyone in this room, everything on this planet, in this universe, it is all one. So I just accept for myself and others a reverence for all things, everything, and allow myself to accept a greater truth than the one I held prior to this moment of who I am and who anyone is. I accept that all is well, that there is a divine pattern flowing in, through, and as all things. And that divine pattern speaks as others, as my life, as others' lives. And in this holiday season, when everything is so amplified, let me just receive from it some great joy. This joy of who we all are and what we came here to be and what we came here to do. I let go of any condition that I identify with that is somehow says who I am, because no condition says who I am. I let go of any event that has happened in my life as if it is what I am, for it is not. I let go of any experience in my life that has power, knowing that there is a greater truth of who I am. And I know this truth for each person in this room. So with the essence of what the holiday season, which is joy, that joy, that lightness of being, that experience of infinity that I don't experience as the body, it is so much bigger than that. And I allow myself to feel it and to feel into it and to recognize the divine as myself and as others as I go forward this week. And the gift that I spoke today, I become. So I just allow this time that we have shared to be good and so very good. And to give it its reverence and its due, and take that invitation to be one with Spirit, to be one with God. So I just release this prayer into the universe that is the law that is God. And I let it be. And so it is. Amen. Thank you.
One of the things I like to celebrate most is the opportunity for me to choose. I get a kick out of it. So India, I rewrote this little ditty, and I'd love to share that with you. So I'm going to slow it down just because it's so deep. Because you never know where life is going to take you, and you can't change where you've been. But today, I have the opportunity to choose. Here I am now looking at 50, and I got so much to say. Gotta get this off of my chest. I gotta let it go today. I was always too concerned about what everybody would think. But I can't live for everybody. I gotta live my life for me, yeah. I've reached the fork in the road of my life. Nothing's gonna happen unless I decide that I choose to be the best that I can be. I choose to be authentic in everything that I do. My past won't dictate who I am, 'cause I choose. Because you never know where life is gonna take you, and you can't change where you've been. But today, you have the opportunity to choose. Release the guilt about why things happen the way they do. Life is gonna do what it do. And every day, you have the opportunity to choose. I put myself in so many chaotic circumstances, filled up with shame from the top of my head to the soles of my shoes. I built my life in a different way now. I can live for everybody. I gotta live my life just for me. Choose to be the best that I can be. I choose to be authentic in everything that I do. My past won't dictate who I am. I choose. Because you never know where life is gonna take you, and you can't change where you've been. But today, I have the opportunity to choose. Release the guilt about why things happen the way they do. Life is gonna do what it do. And every day, I have the opportunity to choose. Because you never know where life is gonna take you, and you can't change where you've been. But today, you have the opportunity to choose. Release the guilt about why things have been the way they do. Life is gonna do what it do. Every day, you have the opportunity to choose. One last time. Release the guilt about why things have been the way they do. Life is gonna do what it do. Every day, you have the opportunity to choose. Release the guilt about why things have been the way they do. Life is gonna do what it do. Every day, you have the opportunity to choose. Choose again.
Yes.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing your love with us.
Absolutely.
Yes, that was amazing. Yes, thank you, Des. Okay, we're moving into our time of giving, and I'm just thinking about what Des just gave us, right? That was such a beautiful gift, yes. Right? Let's go. Oh, gosh. So, I was thinking about giving, and what came to mind was today our family got together, and we have a tamale tradition at this time of the year, and everybody contributed. Somebody made the sauce, somebody brought the meats, everybody had their part, and then we all came together and brought our contributions to the table. And I was thinking, wow, what if somebody, forgot the sauce? We would kind of be in a predicament of you need the sauce to make tamales. And it's the same everywhere. Like, we are all contributions to different communities that we participate in, whether it's work, our family, our spiritual center. It's different ways that we can give and contribute to the greater good of the whole. And if we don't think our contribution doesn't matter, think about tamales with no sauce, okay? Okay? It just doesn't work. So I just want you all to know that you matter, and whatever you give, if it's coming online, coming to our center on Sunday afternoons, during the busy holiday season that you chose to come here, we thank you. Whether you're giving of your talents, through music, through the giving, the greeters, through technology team, however you give, if you give financially, however you give, we say thank you because it is an important part of our community. And like the tamales give back, right? They give back to us, and we get to enjoy them and savor them. And that's what happens with our community. When you give to our community, we get to enjoy our community and continue to enjoy our community and savor each other. And so I just want to thank you now in advance. And you can give through Venmo, through PayPal. We have in the back of the room, we have a basket as well in our online community. You can give through Facebook as well. I believe there's a button on Facebook as well. So thank you for your giving. And I'm just going to take this moment as we close our eyes and connect with that which we do give, whatever it may be, knowing that it is holy and sacred, and that is given from a cup that overfloweth. And as we give with gratitude, we know that what we give is blessed. It is blessed and blessed and blessed tenfold. Yes, and we are so grateful for the ability to give and the ability to receive. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Thank you for this law of circulation that only says yes. We are so grateful, so thankful, yes, for these gifts of talent, treasure, and time. And so it is. And let us say our abundance affirmation together. Yes, yes. The abundance of all good surrounds me and operates through me. I accept in faith God's plenty as mine and of namaste. I accept it with gratitude and joy and use it with wisdom as the inlet and outlet to all that God is. I affirm this as true, and so it is. Yes. And I want to take time to thank everyone who has put this wonderful service together. And thank you, Reverend Bobby, for an amazing talk. Thank you so much. That really touched my heart. Yes, thank you. I want to thank Des for her amazing gifts and talents of music. And sound, we have Casey on sound today. Thank you, Casey. And Nikki Freeman with her amazing meditation. And Jesse holding the space for us in the room. And Tori on technology. Woo woo for Tori. And slides by Susan, our Board of Trustees president. And Sean Mejia, our Board of Trustees. And thank you for our welcome team. Who greeted us as we came into the sanctuary. So thank you, everyone, for putting this beautiful service together. And we're going to move into our benediction, as I'm looking for our benediction slide. There we are. Okay. All right. One of our favorite times, way to close our service. We're going to say this with energy and feeling it in our body, knowing that we are life. So, you know what? Let's stand up and do this together. Let's stand up so we can really put our body into it and get some enthusiasm. Yes, yes. Okay, feel your feet on the ground, connect to the earth. Feel your top crown chakra connected to all that is. Yes. Are you ready? Okay, here we go. Something wonderful is happening through me right now. It is this thing called life. Life is in my mind. Life is in my body. Life is all that I am. Life is all that we are. I accept it, I am it, and I share it with all. Just the way it appears, and just the way it appears not. Here we go. Thank you, life. Yes, woo! Thank you, thank you. Thank you, namaste. Thank you for being here. And most importantly, have a beautiful week. Thank you. Bye-bye.
I do believe I will receive. I just have to know and then declare it so with an open mind and just a little bit of time. If it serves my highest good, then it is mine. If it serves my highest good, oh, it is mine. If it serves my highest good, oh, it is mine.
Thanks, everyone, for coming. Couple things. Don't forget, what's next Sunday? Holiday service, potluck. Bring your favorite meal. And we're so grateful you get to sign up outside if you're going to be actually participating. We've invited a few other communities to join us for next Sunday. So just make sure you do that before you leave. You can also just shoot us an email over the week and let us know that you're going to be coming. Thank you, Des, for closing us up, and we're going to let you go. We went over a little bit. We're so sorry. Choir, come in and join us, but have a great week and enjoy the holiday season. Thank you.
Woo!